Is Richard Whittall. He's the president and CEO of Newstrike Capital. I stumbled over the Guerrero, thank you very much. Let's start with the prospects for the junior mining space. I saw you nodding your head when I was reading the introduction with respect to access to capital. You seem to have money in the kitty, but it's difficult for a lot of the junior miners right now.
It is frightening. There's not a lot of clarity in the market, but it's a market where we're trading probably near historic lows. And that, to me, means represents a compelling entry point. Now, you have to have some underlying faith in the price of gold, but I do think the valuations are attractive.
How does it to raise capital right now? If I said tomorrow, oh, I think I've got an idea, I think I'm going to decide to do a gold, open a gold exploration company, how much of a challenge am I going to face to get somebody to finance me?
Oh, I think that's going to be a tall task. There's no question. You have seen deals done, and Midas and Tech got together. A few others of private placements, but I think it is a pretty challenging environment. There's no question we don't want to go back to the capital markets, especially at these values.
You mentioned that the stocks are cheap, or maybe historical lows, but it's a bit of a moving target, isn't it? I mean, as you said, faith in the price of gold, and proven and probable reserve levels are coming down as the price of gold falls. So how do you make that decision on valuation? We'll talk about your particular company in a minute.
Well, I think you have to have a longer-term view. There's no question there's not a lot of clarity in the market, and maybe prices will come down. But I do think that the valuations are historically low. And any sector at this point, if it is this low, I think the trick in investing is to go in with great companies, good balance sheets, and great assets.
So Francis has sort of laid out some of the challenges facing the industry. You've laid out some of the challenges facing the industry. Why are you in a somewhat different position? Why aren't you just, folding up your tent and going home?
Well, I think the good news and the bad news. The good news is we came out with a multi-million ounce discovery, the third one in Guerrero. The bad news is our timing was not great. We came out in April, May, only 60 days ago, and that is a challenging environment. But we are cutting expenses like every other small company, and we have, as Francis said, just under $20 million in the bank, and we will survive. It has to go back to strong balance sheets and great assets, and we do have a very good asset.
In an exploration company, how do you cut expenses?
Well, in our case, field geologists will go from 21 days down to 14 to 10. It is the rainy season at this time, so we'll cut back a little bit on. You don't want to lose people in this environment. That's one of the keys of cutting expenses, but making sure. So we push people off to vacation and say it's August, go on vacation. But really cutting back the amount of work that they're doing, and drills and labs and things.
But don't you need that? Don't you need that investigative approach to find out how much gold you have, how you're going to approach the mine?
Well, no question. In our case, we punched in 130 holes, and we've largely had the spend behind us now at this point. So now we're tweaking Ana Paula, which is our project, and we're looking to refine it, make it a little bit more robust in terms of economics, metallurgy, etc. So those are the catalysts going forward. In terms of exploration, that's probably where we're cutting back a little bit, but we're still moving forward. We plan to start drilling in some new areas in August, but we have to have staying power.
That Ana Paula project, how close are you to producing at that mine?
Well, it's an incredibly low-risk project, and the economics so far, what the analysts are saying, because we do not have a PEA, is it's an open pit, it's a high-grade core, and it's near surface. And so if you're going to plunk down quite a bit of money to build a mill, you want your payback as fast as you can. And in our case, it looks like it would be a very rapid payback. And so we're quite attractive in terms of our economics. But we didn't put the gold there 66 million years ago, and so there's no leakage at this point.
So you actually have to build the infrastructure as well to bring this mine into production. There's not a mill nearby,
well, we have
other facilities.
Torex next door, and Los Filos project is down the road from us. Our business model is to discover, partner, or sell, like many junior companies. There's nothing new in that. And so we'll be tweaking the project. And we often use a real estate term, try to make it a turnkey development, make it attractive for somebody to come in and take a look at it.
For a project like this, what is the gold price at which this becomes a viable project, and what's the gold price below which you just can't produce?
Well, it's a great question. We spent a lot of time stress testing this, and we're economic at $1,300 gold and a 26% after-tax IRR. That is an analyst number, not our number. But it looks quite good. Obviously, at $1,000, it gets a little dicey. But it is a very robust, and it's the oldest adage in the world, which is grade is king, and we do have that.
What is the grade? For those people who understand those numbers.
2.2 million ounces, about 1.5 million of the ounces are just under 4 grams.
And is $20 million enough? That's what you have in the kitty?
That's a tough question. Yes, it is, for now. We will cut back. Our burn will be somewhere between 800 and 1 million a month, so we have staying power. When the price of gold is this low, it's below the marginal cost of production. So in all likelihood, we hope it won't stay here for much longer. But you know, we can survive for at least 18 months easily. You
mentioned always one of the possibilities for a junior company is to sell itself or to sell part of the development potential that it has. Are you actively shopping yourself or shopping some of your assets?
We've had this as our base business model from day one. We're not running a process at the moment, but we've had a lot of interest because of the nature of the project. And I wouldn't expect in this environment, you're not going to see a lot of discoveries because there's very little money to drill. And so you're not going to see a lot of juniors who normally take that risk on. So we're at that stage where there's probably 6 or 8 great companies out there, but I wouldn't expect to see a lot of discoveries turn into deposits because of this environment. Very challenging.
Now, you're a pretty young guy, but you've probably been through a few gold cycles. Is this the worst one that you've experienced, or have there been worse times in terms of funding, attitudes towards gold mining companies?
It's probably among the most challenging I've seen. I'm a little bit disheartened about the fact that the window's shut to raise money, because it's great. In our case, Guerrero is a highly prospective area. We've only explored 0.5%, and as an exploration company, we're itching to make more discoveries, and you can't. You really have to be a little bit more careful about where you're going to spend your money. You can't ramp up your exploration to the degree you would like to. But yeah, it's a tough environment, but I think we'll work through it.
You say the window's shut to raise money. Is the only thing that changes that a higher gold price?
Yes, I think so. Bottom line, it's a commodity business, and I think it helps. But, you know, like any sector, whether it's the auto sector or housing starts, it gets to a point where it gets compelling. And at some point, it's difficult to time it, but I think the entry point is really, really compelling at the moment.
And where do you think gold will be? I'll put you on the spot. We're just taking a look at the price of it, up $6 or so today. Where do you think it's going to be in a year? I'll give you 2 years.
2 years? Between 1,400 and 1,550.
Oh, so you're not rip-roaring bull?
No, I'm bullish.
Yes.
I'm extremely bullish on it, but I think that the economy in the States has to hire more people and get a little more inflation, and I think that will be the catalyst. In about 3 years' time, I think hard assets are going to roar.
To what extent does the fact, you mentioned there are all these smaller companies that simply aren't going to be doing as much production as they were in the past, to what extent does that sort of put a price on the floor of gold and move the price up?
Well, in this environment, you're seeing impairment charges. It takes a while, and it takes quite a while for projects to reach the board of directors who determine whether they're going to shut it down. As soon as that happens, you're going to see supply diminish. And you're going to see countries, we've already seen it. I think Australia and South Africa worries me. And there is pretty good, strong demand out of East Asia, out of Southeast Asia, single digit, but they like gold. So I think supply goes down, demand stays constant or goes up, price goes up.
Richard, thanks for joining us.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Richard Woodall, he's president and CEO of Newstrike Capital.
We're going to take a quick break right now.